Glitches in video games, whether it be Call of Duty, Mario, Minecraft, any other video game that is out there, often changes the way that we look at the game. For instance, if we take a look at Mario 64, we have the game-breaking backwards long jump stair glitch. Most people are familiar with this, but if you don't, you do a long jump up some stairs and eventually it could glitch out your game, causing you to clip through doors. Now, this tactic has been used in speedrunning ever since its discovery, meaning that this is an extremely game-breaking glitch. Taking a look at a game that is more close to home to us on this channel, Call of Duty Zombies, there are plenty of glitches to go around and do. Probably one of the most famous ones is either this knocked one where you could strafe jump into this corner, or the 5 window glitch, which you could just hop on the table and spawn and camp there for the rest of the game. You can see why glitches in gaming are generally considered game breaking and why some speedrunning categories just ban these entirely. So one might be asking, there are so many glitches in Zombies, what game could we possibly be talking about today? Well, this might come as a surprise to you, but we are talking about Black Ops 3 today. And you might be asking why. Black Ops 3 is literally one of, if not the best zombies mode that we have ever had. How can a glitch save a game as good as this? Well, yes, I agree. And looking back at the release of Black Ops 3, there were many new innovative things that were added into the game. Weapon kits were among the first that were added, which allowed players to level up their weapons and get attachments on their guns. Now, the argument could be made that by achieving the max level of your gun, you could override ever needing to buy certain perks like Speed Cola with the fast mags or Double Tap with the fast fire rate. But in my opinion, I think it's just a reward for people who leveled up their guns and actually played the game, and it really isn't the most game-breaking feature in the whole world. However, as we know, there was another thing that was added, gobblegum. Now, gobblegum was a feature that was added that we had absolutely never seen before in the history of zombies, and it was awesome. Disregarding some really bad gobblegums, the gobblegum system was a great idea that encouraged players to test new ways on how they could play zombies. Each gobblegum was assigned a color and ability that made it unique, with each color of the gumball representing a different effect. The blue gumball relates to how many rounds it is active, green is a time-based gobblegum, orange is a instant activation once you get it, and a purple is a player activation. To achieve these gobblegums, players either bought or grinded the game and earned liquid divinium. And if this system seems like pay to win to you, I made a video a couple days back explaining why it's not, which you should totally go check out after this video. But anyways, using liquid divinium in exchange for gobblegum, the player could receive something as good as like a perkaholic or a shopping free, but they could also earn something as bad as a board games or crawl space. It was all luck based pretty much, meaning that you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Now, there's an important distinction that has to be made between gobblegum. There are classic gobblegum and there are mega gobblegum. When you use a classic gobblegum, they usually aren't as good and they don't have the best abilities. However, there are a couple that are pretty good and I'll talk about that later. But when we bring up mega gobblegums, they are usually very, very game breaking and very interesting. However, the thing about these mega gobblegums that is very important to mention is that once they are achieved, they could only be used once and weren't unlocked forever like the classic gobblegum. This essentially means that if you had just recently got a perkaholic from Dr. Monty's factory, it could only be used once before you could use it again. Many people found this very upsetting because it's not easy by any means to come by the actual good gobblegums. Usually when you go to Dr. Monty's factory, he's like, oh, here's a I'm feeling lucky, or here's a slaughter slide. And with this one-time use, it made it extremely difficult to think about when it should actually be used. People would ask, what if I die? What if it's not worth it? What if I fail the Easter egg and it's gone forever? These questions ran throughout the community, and mega gobblegum use was slowed at the start of the game because more people were hoarding them instead of actually putting them to use because they were afraid of using them. Additionally, some of the classic gobblegum were honestly better than the majority of megas, with ballers such as like In Plain Sight and Alchemical Antithesis. However, not shortly after the game's release, people began to discover an absolutely game-breaking glitch. People found that by tapping out of your game on consoles, which essentially just means quitting out of your game mid-match, all of the gobblegums that you used in the match would simply add themselves back to what you had before the match started. For instance, if I had 21 immolation liquidations and I started up a match and used 3 of them, I would usually end the match and return with 18. However, with the glitch, you can use as many gums as you want as long as you have enough, and you can retain all of them. Now, this is a pretty controversial opinion, but I strongly believe that without this feature, gobblegum would be nowhere near as popular as it is nowadays, and the system would be more flawed when missing this piece. It's kind of weird to say to me because the system wasn't intended to have this as a part of it, but it just kind of completes it in my opinion. However, there are some rules that if not followed will not allow the player to complete this glitch. If for instance you were to die and the game over screen was shown and you tried to tab out, well, you are an unfortunate fellow because it would not work as the match has concluded and all of the progress that you have made throughout it has been solidified. Now, the fact that it actually has this balance to it where you actually still have to be alive to complete it is honestly furthering my point that this is a good part of the system. However, there was something discovered that is even more game breaking than this glitch, and actually it's an upgrade of the previous glitch that we mentioned. By either going to your settings and turning off your internet or going to your Ethernet cable and taking it out mid-match, your game will retain all of the gobblegum that you had at the beginning of the match, as well as retaining all of the progress you made in, for instance, your weapon kit level or your liquid divinium count. I hope you guys can see how game breaking this is, because by just having one gobblegum, someone could use the same one over and over without ever needing to spend liquid divinium to get a new one. And although many people say Activision probably hates this feature, I personally believe that if they were to hate it so much, they would have just fixed it by now. Hopefully I'm not about to eat my words because they did just update Black Ops 2, so who knows. Now, one could argue, oh, this is not such a game-breaking feature because as far as I know, this trick can only be done on consoles. But what PCs have that consoles don't is the Steam Workshop, and there has to be at least a bazillion mods that give you every gobblegum in the game for free, so you can't really make that argument there. With gobblegum returning in Gulf War, I am saddened to say that we probably won't be receiving this same glitch, and honestly without it, I don't think gobblegum will be used as much by the average player. Yeah, many big YouTubers with money can spend it on divinium or plasma or whatever it will be in this game, but the average Call of Duty Zombies guy who's just playing after work won't be paying for that. Without this staple feature, I honestly feel like gobblegum won't hit as hard, and I think we need to appreciate the beauty of a wonderful glitch that saved this system. Now, do I believe that this actually saved the zombies mode? Kinda, but not really, because gobblegum at its core is not the essential feature of zombies. You could do every Black Ops 3 Easter egg of all time, you could do anything you want without the use of gobblegums. It is completely possible, and that's the beauty of gobblegum, because everything is possible even without it, but it's just there for a handicap if people need it or if they just want to have fun. So in conclusion, this glitch didn't really save the zombies mode, but it did save its system, and I think without it, we would be missing a key part of what makes gobblegum so special. As always, guys, it's been a pleasure, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.